Hello there. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today we're going to flip through my nearly completed personal junk journal. I made this journal from scratch near the end of 2021, and I recently, I'm going to put a few finishing touches on, but recently finished her. I made the spine and the covers from chipboard. I'm just trying to get her in frame. She's so enormous. And I used fabric to hinge all three sections of the spine together. In fact, you can see here that I didn't get all of the fabric perfectly flat, and so there's these couple of wrinkles, which personally are very delightful to me. This is a hand mixed color, and there's probably 3, 4, 5 layers. There's a neutral layer, like a white layer, primer. There's some crackle. I forget, there might be a green color underneath, and then there's this pink that you can tell I've sprayed with brown paint. And yeah, then I added some additional zhuzh on here. She measures about 3.5, almost 3 3¾ inches wide. And the cover is 7, I'd say it's a good 7¼ by 7¼ inches wide by 11.5 tall. So she's massive. But look at all this chunky goodness. She's so chunky, right? I don't know what that does for you, but when I look and see all of the different layers and depths, unevenness you can call it, I really enjoy that. I am going to re-tassel this journal, if that's a word. I have developed a taste for dramatically long tassels that this does not satisfy. So when I re-tassel this, I'll bring you with me. And then there's at least one important finishing touch inside the journal that I'll probably do on camera as well. So this cover, obviously there's the full cover, and then I made this frame, and inside it, this is a Tim Holtz print. It's a little heavier than cardstock, and I forget exactly. There's probably a name for it that came in a package of, I don't know, maybe half a dozen different designs that were probably I cut this down a little bit, so they were probably like 9 by 7 or something like that. And it's been so long, I just don't remember what they were called. And I'm sorry, I'm bumping the camera. I am not a content creator. My setup gives me away as just a girl on the internet trying to show you her hobby. So I've got some work to do to make this setup a little more stable. But let's open her, shall we? I will say all of the journals I created, like a good dozen of them in the beginning, all had the same approach, where I would use, there we go, I would use lace on the spine, and have that lace, this thrifted lace, kind of poking out at the edges. And then absolutely every single journal I created early on had this sort of peekaboo flap. This is a thrifted curtain, believe it or not. It was a valance. I just loved the color and the texture, and then I loved sewing it on as, like I said, like a peekaboo. One of the finishing touches I want to do in this journal is to date it, approximately when I started and when I finished. I think I'm going to do that, date it here. And I think I'm going to use these photos as part of that, just sort of like approximately, you know, a selfie, what I looked like in 2021, and then approximate what I look like now. This was actually taken last year, but it's pretty close. So like I said, when I do that, I'll probably bring you with me. I really am struggling with the treatment to give that page, but it'll come to me. And then this page, I don't know if I will leave this blank. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do here. But the rest of the blank pages, excuse me, I don't feel too obligated to finish. I feel like the journal is finished and I can come back to it if I want to, but I don't have to. I don't journal in chronological order, at least I have in the past, when I'm doing visual memory keeping, and this journal is no different. This Magic Flute envelope is one of the first things I thrifted when I really got into this. There is a coordinating card that goes with it. I might use it, I might not. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in here, but I was really excited when I found these. And this photo, believe it or not, I took in a Costco parking lot. It's just printed out on regular printer paper. I really liked the color of these flowers and was looking at some areas where I want to replant perennials, and took that photo. And then as I was finishing up this journal, I was looking through photos and thought, boy, this photo would look really good on this background that was already here. So that's the story behind that. This is an envelope that had a gift from a cousin who has a home in France. I like the color, and it's not very textured, but it almost looks like it's ribbed up close. I don't know if that comes out on camera, but there's a little sticker, the closure sticker says Chinon, and that's the place where she and her husband have a home. I thought that was cool to stick in here. And then I just use one of Johanna's, or Yoey, I think is what she goes by, one of her digital linens, just to add some, just to break up the envelope. I don't think I'll journal on it. I'll just leave it as is. This is a page where I added a scrapbook page that was folded off center to the tea-dyed paper, and then came back and added another strip just to extend the page and to hide my journaling. And then I just put down a strip of washi tape over the seam. And I will say gratitude journaling has been a lot of fun to add. I look forward truly to coming home and just quickly journaling about 3 things that I'm grateful for every day. If you're stuck, that's a great way, whether you're just writing or you're junk journaling, a great way to get unstuck and back in your journal. You're going to hear me talk about Yoey a lot because it was her video that was the first one on junk journaling I ever saw, and her approach was just so, she made creating junk journals feel really approachable, and she's an amazing artist. So I have mimicked or experimented with ideas that she's thrown out. And this idea was to use scraps you have to create a border, which I did. And then I love a quote, so I put a quote in here. I don't think it's attributed to anyone, so that's why there's no author. And I actually have, this is on my Instagram from when I originally created this. I have like a little video of this. This is a digital I recently found. I thought it was a really pretty set, and I printed a couple of them out just on regular copy paper. I think this washi tape is just so pretty, and I love that it's semi-transparent. So I put it on and wrapped a piece of it over. And I don't know why, but I just wanted to fold this sheet in half. This is one of the first pages I ever journaled. I'd gone to a maker fair, like a maker's market, like where we have our farmer's market. In the late fall, there was of 2022 or 2021, I forget. It was probably 2021. They had a maker's market, and I bought this beautiful sticker of the state I live in, Michigan. I did some journaling that's actually broken up. It doesn't actually flow the way you might think it does. And then I added her card. This is one of my favorite pages. I love the pages that keep an archive, that archive something mundane that 30 years from now, if this journal were to survive, it just would be an interesting look back at things that aren't in place anymore. So these are like the little directional delivery stickers that you get on Amazon packages. This is probably 3 or 4 layers worth. So I was collecting these stickers like a weirdo for a while. But I really like this page. It's simple. And like I said, if I'm blessed to have grandchildren, great-grandchildren, this just might be interesting, because who knows how life will change decades into the future. I may actually journal on, this is the middle of the section, middle of the signature. I might come back and journal as I wrap up this journal, we'll see. But this is a trip to New York, part of a trip to New York and New Jersey I made a couple of summers ago. A friend took me to Wave Hill, which is a public garden and cultural center in Brooklyn, Queens. Oh, shoot, I can't remember. You can tell I'm not a New Yorker. Anyway, one of those two. Really enjoyed it. It was super hot that day. Had some lovely cocktails. We had a great time. This is an idea Yoey had, that I copied, where you literally just journal, staple the pages together, and then with washi tape, make it a tip-in. Here, I've added a pocket retrospectively with staples and journaled on some very fragile vintage paper. And then behind it is some tissue paper. Tissue paper is a great way to break up a plain page without scrapbooking paper. Sometimes you don't want the thickness. Sometimes you just can't find paper that goes with the theme or the visual story you're trying to create. Tissue paper is a great way. It just kind of blends into the background while breaking it up. These are movie tickets. This is an idea Yoey, I think she kind of does this in every journal, and I'm sure lots of other junk journalers do too. I copied or went over the letters of some of the tickets just because the tickets are fading, which I'm okay with. It's okay that the tickets fade. Most of these are glued in, but I did find a couple that I stapled in. And then here's I've had this dragonfly punch forever, 20 years at least. And every journal I make always has a dragon, at least one page has the dragonfly punch. And then I was really into sewing on tabs up front. So the tabs don't say, hey, this page is special. I would just sew on tabs as I was assembling the journal. I don't know that I would do that anymore. I think I'd rather put a tab on a page for a reason, but I was really into sewing those on initially. This is a random page. These are, so this was a sticker for a company my sister owned. This is another sticker I got through something. This is a sticker from a vendor I used to use. This is when I bought one of Yoe's journals, I got her business card, so I stuck that in here. This is a business card for a neighbor who I made her a junk journal, and she went on to learn how to make them and a bunch of other super creative, interactive items. This is some just random packaging that I just really liked. I like the weight of the cardstock and the message and the shade of green. This is like a takeout sticker that's for sure gonna fade. Don't go to Subway often, but I just really love craft paper, and I love this simple one color graphic. And I did journal in here, and then glued down just part of it, so this is still sort of interactive. And then this is a junk mail envelope that I washi taped in as it's not really a flip up, it's more of just a pocket. And this was like a reminder to vote card that I thought was really, I don't know, I just liked the colors. So I kept it. And instead of having a shoebox full of things that I thought, pieces of marketing or whatever that I think are neat, now I have junk journaling. These are some birthday cards from a birthday a couple of years ago. This will make your journal bulky, but I don't care. I used a piece of scrapbook paper after the journal was assembled with skinny double-sided tape to store some extra pictures. I journaled right over it. I did some stamping. There's a tiny word sticker. This is part of the same birthday spread. If there's one thing I'm gonna do, your girl is gonna glue down a map. So this part of my birthday that year, my family agreed to go to Greenfield Village with me, which is one of my favorite places to go. It's sort of like a museum and sort of like a reenactment space, and I just love it. So that's the map, and here are the tickets, and journal about that. And there's Greenfield Village was a living museum space created by Henry Ford, and so taking a ride in a Model T they have several that will take you around the village. I was obsessed with sewing in these flippy flappies. When I first started creating journals, you'll see them several times throughout this journal. This is a page where I just collaged some scraps and put down another quote. This is a trip my son and I took his senior year of high school. We went to LA for a couple of days and then took a cruise from LA. So this is a postcard that I mailed to myself. And then I used this photo as a pocket with double-sided tape. I put some journaling in here, and then I used the scrapbook, the scrap paper scrap to create a pocket. And I put more photos in there and did some journaling on this digital linen that I bought from Yoe's shop, which they make great like captions or journaling spaces, or just decorative, like you saw back on that orange page at the beginning, that orange envelope. So this is us kind of doing a tour of Venice Beach, Muscle Beach. There's another digital linen with some journaling on it. This is us on the when we first got on the deck of the cruise ship. I put our room cards in there. I used a piece of scrapbook paper with double-sided tape and maybe a couple staples to create a pocket. I put some extra photos in there and some journaling. You can see the digital linen there that I printed on sticky paper. More journaling and photos, more photos. So that's the end of that spread. And then I have a thing for perfumes. So I started cutting off pieces of the boxes and stapling them in and spraying them with perfume. So this section smells really, really good. And if my future grandkids get really inquisitive, they'll find a little hidden pocket under here with journaling and some journaling hidden under here as well. This was a trip I took the following year before I had started my master's program and was on a really aggressive project at work, and it was like my last chance to take a vacation for a while. I am cruised out, so I went to North Carolina to visit a friend and then took a cruise out of Orlando. I'm cruised out. I won't be doing that again anytime soon, I don't think. But I met this friend at work, and then she left and went to started a different job. And I found this quote: "There's not a word yet for old friends who've just met," which is a quote by Jim Henson. I thought that was really appropriate. And this is a page of grocery. This is brown paper bag, grocery bag that I'd used to paint on. And I thought it was really pretty. It just hit me one day. So I just tore off a piece of it, glued it down, and then put on this photo with a paper clip and put this little sticker on it. This is a photo of the henna art I had on my hand while I was on vacation, and this is just like the card of the henna artist underneath. And it's just here with the paper clip. And then this pocket is really the middle of the signature. I put the middle together with double-sided tape. And I started doing that because this journal was so huge. Just to have fewer pages to have to journal on, I would stick 2 pages together and make a pocket just to give me extra storage space. But like I said, I just thought I was never going to finish this journal. So here's some more photos from the cruise, some ephemera, the little cap that covers your cup, your drinking glass in your room, a tag that goes on your luggage. I glued that down over a pocket that was sewn in as I was making the journal. I put some extra photos in there and my room key. This page I haven't done anything with. I don't know that I'll do anything with it. I don't feel obligated, so it might just stay blank. Here I glued down some sewing pattern paper on top of the tea-dyed paper that was here, and put down a quote, and then came back and colored in a couple of words with colored pencil. Here's some more gratitude journaling. So as I was finishing up this journal, I would just find a page here or there, create a grid, and then just date it and put 3 things that I'm grateful for at the end of the day. I love doing that. It is such a good practice, and I really look forward to it. I might not do anything with this page. This page I love. This was a Yowie idea. I love how tactile this is. And again, it's one of those mundane things that 30 years from now, who knows if bread tags will look like this. So it's just, I don't know, it's just something so simple, and it just kind of documents what life was like. And then I have like some of my favorite tea packets on the back. This is another Yowie idea that has had a chokehold on me. Every journal I've created has had these 2 grommets with some thrifted lace or string tied through it. I've done it on every journal I've ever made, I'm pretty sure. I actually have a mini process video up on, or photos on my Insta of me making these 2. So I found this quote on a candle or a mug or something. I thought it was really cheeky and cute. And then I had this photo and I thought she's gorgeous and she looks like she probably had correct opinions on everything. So I stuck her down here. And then this journal was, or this envelope was already here. And I just added to it some random things. This was like from embroidery kit that I'd bought at the time. This was like a random receipt. I don't know where this came from or why I have it, but I thought it was cute. And then this was like some private journaling I'd found in a pocket somewhere. And so I just stuck it in here. And then this was a crochet heart from a project I'd made forever ago. And I just stuck it right there. I love this spread. This is also a Yowie idea. You take different strips, different papers that you have and glue them down, find a quote. I think she just stenciled Monday. And then journal. So I have a little bit of scrapbooking paper, but not much. I think this is the only scrapbooking paper. This is notebook paper. This is a sticky note. This is a sticky note. This is. And journaling is just so good. It's just such a good way, especially if you're struggling. It's good for positive things, but especially anything negative. Journaling has the ability to release some of the feelings that you have, some of the visceral reaction that you might have to a memory. It doesn't take the memory away, but it actually, I think it's been proven that it can reduce some of the physical, emotional responses to memories that you have. And so when I look at this page, I like the look of it. I like how it looks, but I also like the way it makes me feel. And I have just a very general memory. Like I've never gone back and I can't tell you really what I wrote, and I've never gone back to read it, and I probably never will. I just know that I feel good when I look at this page. This is, for some reason, I printed this out. I found this on Pinterest and it was laying around and I decided to glue it in here. This is on top of some scrapbook paper and there's like a sticker here and some tiny word stickers on top of that. This is a vintage like bill of sale that I bought on Etsy. I thought it was really pretty pink. I love how authentic, how, you know, this, the old school cursive, it's just really pretty. And then here's where I ran into some trouble. I did some experimenting and I decided it was so hideous that I actually walked away from this journal for a long, long time. It's part of the reason why, even though I started journaling in it in 2022, it's now 2025 and I'm just now finishing it. I just sort of gave up. I felt like I was good at making journals, but that my visual memory keeping just wasn't very aesthetic. And so I walked away from this journal and just kept like a lined journal where I just wrote. So this is the inside of a mailer, and I made a grid and made some circles with, you know, something I had around the house, glued in some scrapbook paper. This is actually fabric. I made this, used this to make a pocket. And then this is another Yowie idea where you just do some journaling, fold the pages together, and then cut a shape just for some visual interest. I think I put down the washi tape after the fact. And this is, and I just decided, so then what happened? I used a stencil I have, and instead of like an acrylic paint, I did like a spray that I have. It didn't look good. It wasn't, lost all its definition. I tried tracing over it. That made it worse. And I really combined this page and the next. It really put me off for a while. So here I used some sewing pattern paper and then some paper from a really beautiful coffee book that I thrifted. And I used paint, acrylic paint, to kind of try and blend the edges. This is actually fabric here at the bottom. And I decided that it was hideous and that I should just abandon visually junk journaling. And so I have a lot of catch-up journaling that I will have to put into another journal because I really just, like I said, walked away from it for a couple years. This is an easy journal spread, just sticking in some sticky notes with to-dos or whatever, sticky notes or notebook paper or whatever it is for you. This is a spread from a past birthday. Here's the middle of the signature, and again, I've created a pocket. So this isn't very aesthetic either, but when I look at this, I remember this birthday and how a few things happened that were unplanned that made it a really fun birthday. So I look at this and it's not aesthetic, but it brings up good memories. So a neighbor of mine, had tickets to a musical she couldn't use. I love musicals. And the friend that I visited back at the beginning of the journal in Brooklyn or Queens, I can't remember, she was in town, and she's a very spontaneous person. And so she went with me. So not only did I get to go to musical, I went with her. My son hates that sort of thing. So it was just fabulous how that worked out. And then this, if you can tell, says the Henry Ford. So this same birthday weekend, a friend from college was in the Detroit area, and so I spent the day at Greenfield Village with her and her boys, and I love Greenfield Village. So and then these are ice cream sleeves from meeting some friends for ice cream. It brings back good memories, even though I would say it wasn't very aesthetic. And really, it was this summer, just realizing like we all die at the end of this, to just have fun and experiment, that got me back in this journal more regularly and actually got me to a place where I was finishing the journal.